Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Hazel Adams. Thank you for joining me today. First of all, this is July 1st, 2026, and as I said in an email that I sent out to my clients and Patreon subscription members, patrons yesterday, I am just feeling very celebratory. Not because it's the birthday coming here on July 4th of the United States of America, as it has been, but because this is such a huge time. This July is such a huge time of energetic shift and change for the United States and for the world. And I'm seeing opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. I'm celebrating the opportunity, the potential for the United States to transmute into what it's truly able to be. Whether or not we think it's ever been what it is built to be able to be, as far as its place within the world stage and the world community. I'll just leave it there. So in any case, I wanted to jump on today though and specifically address the volcanoes and the earthquakes and the heat waves. They're resulting in deaths, and in some cases, as you know, mass deaths. We all knew something like this was coming. We didn't know how big it would be. It's not over yet. We knew that this summer, June, July, August, was going to be huge in the turning point of the consciousness of the planet and of the cosmos. We knew that there might be, probably would be, quite a lot of geological upset in terms of volcanoes and earthquakes, and there have just been swarms in weird places all over the place, and natural disasters that are a lot of people are leaving the planet, even with these terrible heat waves that Europe is experiencing. They're losing people there. And so what I wanted to address today is that we knew that some people would be leaving during this time. Now, first of all, I do want to preface this with, as the Arcturians have said, and as I would say, and as anyone would say that knows how we create our reality and that it's the version we vibrate with, that there's not one way it has to go or does go in the field of probabilities. In other words, all the incipient possibilities, as my teacher Seth put it. Probabilities are incipient possibilities, all the possibilities of how things can go on timelines. We get to vibrate with the version that matches our intentions and agendas and beliefs. So we do not have to vibrate with the most horrible version where half the population of the planet is wiped out and it's terrible and everybody suffers. That is a version that if that's where you go vibrationally, emotionally, mentally, then you can experience that. But that's not the only option. I want to make that really clear. We choose which version of this shift we vibrate with. Having said that, some people, maybe many in terms of, I don't want to go into numbers, but people are going to choose this time to leave the physical, and it's going to be for a lot of different reasons. It could be that they just can't handle the higher vibration that we're moving into. So to our reality, to what we see, they appear to have died in a big earthquake. I'm saying this for a reason. That they may be leaving, a lot of them, because they've really done the work of anchoring the new vibration, the higher vibration. They've done their part. They've helped set the structure, and they don't need to be here for this part now. Maybe they leave and they're coming back, moving into a place where they're inhabiting the new earth. So I just want to specify that there are many, many reasons that people may leave the planet right now, and no one is leaving, no one is being made to leave against their will. We leave when our consciousness, our soul's consciousness, has done what it came to do, feels like it got what it needed, learned what it came here to learn, experienced what it came here to experience and do, and It's ready to leave. We're ready to leave for our own reasons. So first of all, know that. So the thing about this is, keying back to what I just said, it appears to us that they died. Obviously, their physical bodies in our reality are gone, dead, whatever. There is no death. That's what today's video is about. There is no death. And you're going to say, Kathy, how do you know? Well, actually, I did have a personal experience, and I've had that confirmed, and I'll explain. When we die, our consciousness doesn't stop existing any more than it stops existing when we go to sleep. Seth said, you're just as dead now as you ever will be. When you're asleep, you go to all the places you go when you're dead, when your body isn't here anymore. In other words, you exist, your consciousness exists eternally and absolutely, and is inviolate, unviolatable, as Seth also said. That the body, you're no longer in the phase where the body is participating in this version of reality. I'll put it that way. So when we die, there can be all sorts of experiences, which Seth also said. There's no one way it goes. When you die or appear to die here in this reality, you may just wake up in a continuation of this life as if you didn't die. Like, wow, that's miraculous that I survived that plane crash or that car crash or whatever. And you just keep on living your life on a new timeline, in a new different trajectory, whether you realize it or not. But that what you actually just did is shift from one version of your life ending where it did, but continuing on with another probable version of that lifetime, which is it continued on. You can, obviously, we know this from ghosts and everything. You can die in the body and not even know it, and still be walking around until somehow someone shares with you that, and you realize that the people still in the physical bandwidth there do not see you, and that you're not part of their world. Okay, and then you sort of wake up to the fact that you've passed from that lifetime. You can pass away and be in the environment that you expected according to your religious beliefs and where you are, in an environment that helps you make the transition to where you realize you're not in that physical life anymore, and now you're here to do something else, which of course would be life review, to see what you accomplished and how you did with that lifetime, and what you might want to do next, where you might want to go and incarnate, or what you might want to experience next. And you can wake up, and your pure light love consciousness can exist in this heavenly environment, which is part of what I wanted to share with you today. There is a wonderful hour and a half long YouTube that was recorded. It's an interview that Dr. Mayim Bialik recorded not very long ago. And if you're not familiar with her, she's the gal that played Amy Farrah Fowler in The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's girlfriend. She really is a doctor, not a medical doctor. And she has what appears to be a wonderful channel where she and a co-interviewer interview people about these death and near-death experiences and all things spiritual. The only video I've clicked on is this one I'm about to recommend highly to you. This one is called Dead for 7 Minutes. He went past the light and came back with a complete map of heaven. I so recommend this video to you, because in it he describes he was taken immediately beyond the tunnel and the light into where the pure God light of souls reside when they've passed away and they're not in physical body anymore, but they're being their pure God light selves with their authentic joys and interests, with no fear, no lack, no anything like that. And one of the parts of his experience, and I will say, this is an hour and a half long interview. I was riveted. I had no trouble watching that for an hour and a half. I was glued. It was just so beautiful, and gosh, just answered so much, I'll just put it that way, about what heaven on earth can be, who and what we really are. But in any case, one of the key things, two things actually that I'm just reminded to say. First of all, this delighted me. He said that he was shown that the reason we incarnate and come into these lifetimes is because we love to learn. Consciousness loves to learn and expand and grow, which very much reflects something Seth had written. The consciousness delights, which is God consciousness, of course, we all are that, delights in learning and growing and being conscious. If you watch a little kid, we love to learn. We love to take in new information and understand more. So in any case, more awareness. More awareness. So in any case, but the thing that he said that's so key from this video too is that he actually was brought into the presence of who he knew was Jesus, although he couldn't even see his face. It was just light. But that Jesus said one thing to him: tell them there is no death. And there it is. There is no death. When we drop the body, we still exist. We have other experiences. We continue on with other probable versions of this lifetime. Maybe we shift right into another lifetime. Maybe we go where we're reviewing and making decisions. There are so many ways it could go. And I said, how do I know this? Well, first of all, Bashar, in one of his group events, called on a lady that she said, Bashar, whenever, a few years ago, whatever, I fell down a flight of stairs and it's miraculous that I didn't die. And he said, you did. You did die. There's the version of her died, breaking her neck going down those stairs. But she just immediately went to the part that kept on living this lifetime. And here she is, still in this lifetime, talking to Bashar about it. Do you see? We don't end. I actually did personally have an experience that I'm pretty sure was that, and I don't need to go into the details, but I had contracted what I know, I didn't have diagnosed, but I know was West Nile virus. This is when I was still living in Wyoming, and had all the symptoms and the very high fever, and there were sick birds on my property, so I know what it was. But in any case, I had an experience where I was, in this lifetime, the one that has proceeded to move to Florida and be talking to you on the YouTube channel. But the experience I had at the time is I was made very aware of another version of me that was in the hospital dying and dreaming of this version of me that continued on to go visit my parents and move to Florida, all that. There was a version of me, a probable self, in the hospital dying that was dreaming this probable version moving on. And in this probable version moving on, I actually had a moment's contact. I was aware that I was on that pillow breathing and dying. So I'm just saying, I do have a tiny bit of personal experience with, I think that was one of those points where a version of me passed away, probable reality. Another version, here I am, still with you. So I just wanted to share that with you and highly recommend that video because I just think you'll love it. Please leave your comments and questions. I love that. Please feel free to check out the Patreon page and look at the attunements. I have so much free material on the Patreon page. You don't even have to sign into Patreon to access. Thank you all for tuning in today, and I'll be talking to you again this week.